You've clicked on this video because you really want to get into Warframe, but every time you try to play it, you end up feeling weak. And that sucks because you've heard from all of your friends and all of the reviews how much fun and cool this game is, but even though it's totally free to play, you just can't seem to replicate what everyone else is doing. Worry no longer. What's up, Tenno? My name is iFlynn. I've got over 9,000 hours on this game, and I've been helping people get into it for over a decade. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what you need to do to become extremely powerful in Warframe. You're going to be blitzing through all the content that the game has to offer in no time. Do me a favor and Magistar slam that like button to help out the channel, and we'll get right into it. The first thing that we need to understand when getting into Warframe is that our mods equal our power. It doesn't matter if you have a prime frame or a bunch of meta weapons. If you've got no mods equipped or bad mods, these items are going to do nothing for you. And that fact really isn't comforting when you tell a new player that, because there's, no joke, over 1,000 different mods in this game. So how do we know which mods are the good ones? For your Warframe, you want to keep and use mods that increase your ability stats. So these are mods that say plus strength, plus range, plus duration, and plus efficiency. You'll also want defensive mods, so these are mods that are going to increase your health, shields, and armor. Later on in the game, you're going to find more defensive mods that are going to give you extra damage reduction or faster shield recharge, and it's worth keeping those as well. Your Warframes, like we mentioned, they have abilities, and we need energy to cast our abilities. So mods to increase your energy or make your energy easier to sustain, they're worth keeping around as well. All of the mods that I've talked about and shown you guys, you should have all of them after you complete the prologue quest of the game. And now that you know that these mods are worth using and keeping, you're going to want to spend a currency called ENDO to upgrade them. ENDO is a currency that is only used on upgrading mods, so as you come across ENDO in the missions that you're playing, you just want to reinvest it back into the mods that you are finding beneficial. When you start, I highly recommend that you use your ENDO to invest into mods such as Streamline, Flow, and Equilibrium. This is because Streamline reduces the energy cost of your abilities, Flow increases the amount of energy that you can hold in your Warframe's energy reserves, and Equilibrium makes the health orbs give you energy, and the energy orbs give you health on top of their intended effect. Just by upgrading and equipping these three mods, you'll be able to use your Warframe's abilities far more frequently, hopefully making you feel a little bit more powerful. As you upgrade and equip more mods, you're going to eventually run out of capacity to equip them, and this is because every single mod has a cost, and this cost is communicated to you by the number at the top right hand corner of the mod. You gain more mod capacity simply by leveling up your Warframe. Your Warframe's level caps out at level 30, meaning your capacity will also cap out at 30 as well. We can get bonus capacity by equipping the Dreamer's Bomb mod to our Aura slot. You get this mod by completing the Venus Junction located at the bottom of Earth. There's a bunch of challenges that you have to complete to enter into this junction, so get to it. You can double your modding capacity by pressing actions on the modding menu at the bottom right of the screen, then by pressing install an Orokin reactor on your Warframe. Now, you're probably not going to have an Orokin reactor early on in the game, but there are sources that drop Orokin reactor blueprints, and I'll have that displayed on screen now. You're not going to know what most of this stuff is, but once you get there or you discover them, you'll be happy to know that you can get reactors from these sources. If you've installed a reactor and you still run out of modding capacity, you can then use FORMA to reset the rank of your level 30 Warframe back down to 0 in trade for an extra polarity. Polarities are these shapes that you can see on the mods and the modding menu. Matching the shape of the mod with the slot in the modding menu halves the cost to install the mod. You don't have to have an Orokin reactor installed to use a FORMA on your Warframe. FORMA is obtained from relics. Relics are obtained from different missions on the star chart. There are many different kinds of relics, and you're going to start to get different eras of relics as you progress through the game. Every era of relics, so Lith, Meso, Neo, and Axii, have the potential to drop a FORMA blueprint. You can check to see if the relics you have drop a FORMA blueprint by going to the Void Relics kiosk that is to the right of your arsenal after you've completed the Mars junction that's located at the top of Earth. To open these relics, you have to go to your navigation, then select the flame icon at the top right of the screen labeled Void Fissures. Under this tab will be a list of missions that have a void fissure open. Upon attempting to play these missions, you'll be asked to select a relic. These missions are normal missions that you're used to playing, but with the added twist that you have to collect 10 reactants to open up your relic at the end of the mission. You should always open your relics in public lobbies, as players are all going to be bringing a relic of their own, and each will give a different reward. So you'll be able to choose one reward at the end of the mission from anyone in the lobby, and you can all get the same reward. It's worth noting that this is how you also farm up prime warframes and weapons. Everything that we just covered about upgrading our warframes with FORMA and reactors also applies to weapons, but instead of having to get an Oricum reactor to double the mod capacity, you instead get an Oricum Catalyst. Now I'm going to have the drop sources for Oricum Catalyst blueprints on screen now as well. When it comes to weapon modding, you want to keep, install, and upgrade mods that say plus damage, plus multi-shot, plus critical chance, plus critical damage, plus any kind of elemental damage, plus status chance, and plus fire rate. For melees, you also have plus attack speed and plus range. So now that you know what mods to keep and how to upgrade your Warframe and weapons to install them, you probably want to learn how you can get the best mods and a lot of endo to upgrade them. The first thing that I want you to do is join a clan. You can join mine by joining my Discord, linked down in the description below. In your clan, you're going to have access to the Tenno Lab and the Oricum Lab. You can find these quickly by pausing the game and pressing fast travel. What I want you to do is I want you to buy with credits each of these dragon keys from the Oricum Lab. Then I want you to pick up the Wukong, Wukong Systems, Wukong Neuroptics, and Wukong Chassis blueprint from the Tenno Lab. To get the credits to afford all of this, you're going to have to progress through the star chart a little bit. If the game starts to feel tough, go to the modding section in your orbiter, then use some endo and credits to upgrade the mods that we mentioned earlier to feel a little bit more powerful. If you feel like you're lacking in damage, hover over the node of the mission that you're struggling to deal damage in and take note of the elemental symbols beside the suggested damage text. The suggested damage is simply the damage types that are going to deal extra damage to the enemies occupying the mission that you're struggling with. You can make elemental combinations by placing elemental mods beside one another in your weapons modding section. The best elemental combos in the game for general star chart content are corrosive and viral. Corrosive is made by placing electric and toxin damage mods beside one another. Viral is made by placing toxin and cold damage mods beside one another. You can throw an additional element beside these elemental combinations. For both, I recommend throwing on a heat damage mod after you've made your elemental combo of choice. In an area like the Cambion Drift, the enemies there resist viral damage, as we can see from the symbol crossing it out. So in this case, I'd recommend entering into the mission with corrosive and blast damage modded onto your weapon. You can do that by making your modding section look like this. Blast is made by combining heat and cold damage. We're opting to use blast here because the enemies in the Cambion Drift are weak to blast. But if you don't have enough room for corrosive and blast, I want you guys to run gas damage instead. You can make that by using toxin and heat damage. Oftentimes, we prioritize using corrosive damage as the status effect of corrosive damage can strip away enemies' armor if it procs. To be able to craft the Wukong Warframe that we got the blueprints for, we need to get to at least Jupiter, which is the 6th planet. You want to follow the star chart's junctions to get there. You need to first complete Earth to Venus, then Venus to Mercury, Earth to Mars, Mars to Deimos, then Deimos to Jupiter. Once you complete the Venus junction, you're going to be rewarded with a blueprint for a robotic pet called the Taxon. I want you to craft this in your foundry as soon as possible. Once it's done crafting, equip it by going to your arsenal, then pressing the Pets tab. Press upgrade and install the vacuum mod. Hold right click on this mod to upgrade it by spending endo, and this is going to pick up resources for you as you play. I also recommend installing and upgrading as many defensive mods as possible onto your Taxon so it doesn't die. You're also going to want to unlock Phobos while you're at Mars as well, because Phobos drops a resource that we need for Wukong. It also unlocks access to the Void, which is another area that we need to go to for another resource. As you're making your way towards Jupiter, I want you guys to be checking out your Nightwave. Nightwave is Warframe's 100% free battle pass. What we're interested in here is the Nightwave credits that it's going to give us for completing challenges. We need to spend these credits in the cred offering shop on a resource called Nitan. You spend 15 Nightwave credits for 5 Nitan, and we need 6, so that's 30 credits. Lucky for us, the very first reward in our Nightwave pass is 150 credits. Don't be tempted to buy the Oricum reactors and catalysts from here, or even cosmetics. We can get all of that stuff later. Getting the Wukong Warframe is top priority for newer players. So once you've unlocked Jupiter, Phobos, and the Void, we're going to start resource farming. Hopefully you'll have picked up a decent amount of resources by just playing through the game, but we need quite a bit for Wukong. If you still have your starter platinum or any amount of platinum, I recommend buying the orange resource booster from the market if you can, as it's going to double the drops from all resources. Remember that the timer for these boosters is IRL time, so it's going to count down even if you have the game closed. If you can't afford a booster, join my Discord or my Twitch stream and someone in my community will give you a resource blessing or a hand in farming resources if you ask nicely. Let's start with the easy stuff. The Wukong chassis blueprint requires Morphix, Ferrite, Rubido, and then Nitan extract that we mentioned before. To find out where resources drop, simply go to your navigation, select a planet, then hover over the drone at the bottom right of the screen. If you don't see a drone, press resource drones. This is going to pop up a list of all the resources that drop from the planet that you're hovering. So for Ferrite and Rubido, we simply play missions on Earth. For the Morphix, we play missions on Mercury or on Mars. I recommend doing it on Mars because Mars also drops salvage, which we need for the systems. Next, we have the Wukong Neuroptics. For that, we need circuits and polymer bundle. They drop from Venus. A neural sensor dropping from Jupiter. Then, of course, the Nitan extract from the credit shop. The systems is where it gets a little bit tricky because we need our salvage from Mars, like we mentioned, 2 neurodes from Earth, then 4,000 plastids from Phobos, and 2 argon crystals from the Void. You also need a single Oricon cell to tie everything together. Once you've crafted your chassis, systems, and neuroptics, you can get those from Deimos. What I recommend doing to farm all of these resources efficiently is simply just completing as many nodes as possible on each of the planets listed. Then once you've completed all of the nodes, I want you guys to crack open relics on the Fisher missions that appear on these planets. If you happen to get an endless mission such as defense, survival, excavation for your relic mission, the longer you stay, you actually get bonus resource drops. So you'll be farming resources, potentially FORMA, potentially prime parts for prime warframes and weapons, all while you're working your way towards crafting a Wukong. More importantly, you'll also be stockpiling void traces, and we're going to be using these void traces to craft those dragon keys that we got from our clan's dojo. You see, these dragon keys are keys used to open up Oricon vaults in the Horrend mission on Deimos, and this is going to grant you with a random powerful mod known as a corrupted mod. The catch is that these keys, they debuff you when they're equipped, but Wukong makes it so these debuffs literally don't matter, and he even speeds up the entire process of farming these powerful corrupted mods. You have to equip these keys to your gear wheel, start up the Horrend mission, then use Wukong's second ability, Cloudwalker, over and over and over again while using a build that looks a little bit like this. Cloudwalker turns you into a cloud that can't be damaged, it moves quickly and freely. Horrend is a capture mission, so complete the capture part by downing and capturing the target, then float around in your Cloudwalker looking for a vault door that looks like this. Approach it, insert the key that it asked for by interacting with it, pick up the glowy ball that's in the middle of the room, then exit, and at the end of the mission, you're going to be rewarded with a corrupted mod. I'll display all of the corrupted mods that I want you guys to try and get on screen now. These mods will amplify your Warframe's power like no other mods in the game. Each time you open up a vault, you're of course spending one of these keys, so you're going to have to go back to your foundry and craft one of the keys that you spent. Now, you don't have to do this all with Wukong, you can do it with any Warframe in the game, and you don't need to do it solo either, so multiple people can equip all of the different keys, so then you don't get all of the debuffs, but I just figured that recommending Wukong made a lot of sense as he's got a few things going for him. His passive, Undying, makes it so you literally can't die. His first ability spawns in a twin of yourself to help you out. His second ability, Cloudwalker, is a great movement tool, perfect for newer players so they don't get left behind. His third ability, the Phi, is a great panic button for newer players if you get overwhelmed. And his fourth ability, Iron Staff, is an exalted melee weapon that's going to come with an Oricon Catalyst pre-installed, so you'll have additional modding capacity from the get-go. Having this staff with the Oricon Catalyst pre-installed is going to allow you to run bounties in the Cambion Drift efficiently. This is important because it's going to be your early game endo farm, and you're also going to need it for mother tokens that are rewarded from the bounties to rank up with the Entrati Syndicate so you can unlock the Helm system later on. The Helm system allows you to take abilities from other Warframes and put them on a Warframe of your choice. The enemies and bounties in the Cambion Drift also drop powerful mods such as Blood Rush, Weeping Wounds, and Condition Overload, all of which can be equipped to Wukong's staff to make it even more powerful. Simply approach Mother in Necrolisk and select a level of bounty that you feel comfortable taking on. Use your Cloudwalker, K-Drive, or Arcwing to approach the first stage of the bounty. Complete the first stage, then return to Necrolisk, and then run it again. This is the fastest way to farm Endo in the early game. Now that you've got yourself a Wukong, you understand where to get Endo early game, you know what mods to spend your Endo on and which mods to run, go blitz through the game, farm all the Warframes that you want, and have fun. I recommend picking up Rhino from FOSSA on Venus if you haven't already. Anyway guys, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching, and make sure to check out another one of my videos to help out the YouTube channel.